Mick, how are you?
Good, Stephen. I'm just wondering how you guys are coping with the unseasonal weather.
Yeah, it's 36 degrees here. It's about 30-odd in Melbourne, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. It's just, I mean, you'd like to say that you have some choice on this, but it's just ridiculous, isn't it? Really, you just love to get into the football season with, watching the games before the fire or soup or something, It's just, I just don't know. I mean, I go back too far, I suppose. The old roll up the sock and have a kick up and down the passageway and then come and have some soup with your mum and dad and, it was football season, but now I've actually been walking frequently to work, which takes about an hour, and I go through some parks. They're all stripped off and laying down in the sun. You just can't believe it. It's April.
It is ridiculous. I think the seasons are getting longer. Hey, I was told to say happy 30th anniversary. I don't know whether that's a good or a bad thing. It shows your age, Mick. But 30 years ago to the day this weekend, Bulldogs took on Richmond, and you were the coach. That is a long time in the game, Mick.
Yeah, I suppose if you add on the 12 years of playing, it's a lifetime. But, Rowie, I quite often get asked, would you change anything? And I've said yes many times and said perhaps I would dedicate a bit more time to other issues. But reality football has been in my blood. I've loved it. I've made friends. I've made acquaintances. I've made very few enemies, and I mean that. There's very, very few in their football field because I think that when it all settles down, you all love the game, you love the competition, you love the competitiveness, and you generally got a good story to tell about it. And I think football people generally look after one another. So it's been a fantastic period of my life. Well, it's most of my life, and my family only know football, so they've joined in as well. And my 5-year-old grandson said to his Nana today, I can't wait, Nana, to go to the game on Sunday night. So it's just fantastic.
We'll get to that Sunday night game because I want to know whether that's a good time slot. But Bone and I have been debating with our listeners all night, the match review panel. It cited weight for staging. Jordan Lewis from the Hawks didn't get cited. He was cautioned. We're wondering, is it creeping in? This is staging, that is. And whether or not a caution's the right way to go with your name and shame, maybe straight off the bat, you get a fine, and then you get a suspension for second offence. Where do you sit with it all, Mick?
It's been in the game for a long time. I've hated it.
It has, yeah.
I've got to say that being a back pocket looking up and seeing a goal kicked on you from some little rover that may have put one on you, you get very narky. So I've got to say that look, we've always treated it as unmanliness, haven't we? Really, yep. We've always said, listen, get on with it because our game is such a great game. We get one, we wear one, you get one back, bad luck, get on with it. I've got to say, Wadey will serve a great penalty of public humiliation, and that's basically by him being fined. I don't think the fine will cause any duress, but I think the fact that he's out there and people won't miss him. I mean, we're not going to say much at the club. In fact, I don't know even what the boys are saying. I won't even have to take the issue up with him. I really, if there's a report like Andrew Walker, I will say something to Andrew Walker. Yep. But with Wadey, I don't need to say anything. I think that being in the papers and this sort of stuff, the second time offence, I would be very, very surprised that anyone who's been humiliated and fined would even attempt a second time. So I think we'll hold our powder on that one and wait until if it ever happens. But the inconsistencies, I don't know about Jordan Lewis. I don't really want to get involved in that. I listened to Chris Scott tonight. I know this is your pet hate. I listened to Chris Scott tonight about one of his players. Now, I looked at that only once, admittedly, and I'm thinking, he's not my player, but why? Why is he out? So I think, probably I need to look at it again, but, if the public looked at it like I've looked at it just once on the news, you go, hang on, really? Is this bloke getting a week for that? So,
which one was that, Mick, for our listeners?
Taylor Hunt.
Taylor Hunt, yeah.
Taylor Hunt. And look, I'm not here to criticise because, as I say, I only looked at it once, but I looked at it from a point of view of just looking. I mean, we don't play Geelong this week. I don't even know who Geelong play this week, so it doesn't matter to me. But at the end of the day, I looked at that and thought, that's a bit... I need to see it again to see if there's anything there that really resembles, because I look at Fife as well. Fife come off with a head injury because there's a clash of heads, but we've been told if you instigate the bump,
Contact, yeah.
it doesn't matter whether you get injured or not. I'm a little bit bamboozled by a player applying something that we know that the head is sacrament and this sort of stuff, but at the end of the day, the game has been built on body contact and a bump like that, and there's no question in my mind that Fife wouldn't have had any intent whatsoever to hurt that player. In fact, he's come off, I think, may have split his head himself. So I just don't know about a few things. I know they've got some great stuff, but I don't know about a few other things.
Could we adjudicate for an accidental hit like that? Is that something that the game could handle appropriately, Mick?
I think if it's reckless.
Yep.
I think if it's done at a velocity that is beyond what you need to do.
Yep.
I think that there's room for our game staying good for young kids.
Yep.
But when it's instant, it's in a bit of play. It wasn't overly aggressive.
No.
I think we've got to really sum things up. I think Mark Evans, by the way, has done an outstanding job.
Absolutely.
Yep.
An outstanding job, because he comes from football land, he understands it, and I think he's had a good look at this and perhaps tidied a bit up. But I don't know whether he's over all the bits and pieces. I don't know whether he can control everything in his job, but I think there's still room for improvement in some of that stuff.
Hey, Mick, you got a good rooster in your camp in Dylan Buckley. Liked his old man, but this kid can play.
Played him once last year, Bone, believe it or not, and his first kick was a goal, and I don't reckon he touched the ball from there on in.
Well, he was admiring it.
Yeah, probably. Look, I might be harsh. He may have got 2 or 3 kicks, but I didn't play him after that. And I just said to him at the end of the year, and it brought back memories. I guess you learn from experience, and I guess that's why experience sometimes holds you in good reasonable stead.
Yep.
Is that Leon Davis to me was gone as a forward pocket, and I said, "Hey, listen, how about we go in the back line?" This was in April, and he sort of thought about it for a month and said, "You are joking." I said, "No, let's have a think about it." Anyway, he's All-Australian back pocket the year after. Dylan played all his life as a mid-forward. And I said, "Listen, son, how about we look at you in the back line?" He's gone, "Beautiful, let me have a crack at it." And the kid just grabbed it and he's run with it. It's fantastic. I love that about a kid that, look, he's our first rising star in 4 years.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, it is. And I just think it's just terrific for him because he's such a hard, and I mean this, he's a genuine hard worker.
Yep.
And got massive ambition to be a player, and he loves the club. So it's great. I'm really wrapped for it.
Michael Malthouse, our guest for North Point Trader. Now, player free agency, it's here, it's in. Now, we know in the NRL, you as a player can declare you're going to play for another club at the end of that year, and bang, it's out on the table. Should we have, I know you're dealing one with Gibbsy, and there's others that other clubs are dealing with. We've got some over here with both our clubs. Should the AFL bring a cut-off date, say it's round 10 or 11, that player has to make the call? Because I don't think it's fair for the club, the player and the fans that we have speculation for the whole year like we did with Kurt Tippett, like we did with Buddy Franklin. I don't reckon we're mature enough and we like it enough. I reckon we've got to have a cut-off date. Mick, do you like that idea?
I don't. The players will hate this. I hate free agency. I've seen it in action in a different sense when I coached Footscray.
Yep.
Or Western Bulldogs, and I knew it was going to be always a 2-tiered system. If they spoke to me about it, which they wouldn't, and I don't reckon they need to, but I have had vast experience in AFL and VFL. I would say that it can only aid one side. It's never going to be, the bottom sides aren't going to go, I guess, a player's not going to go, I'm going to play for the bottom side, because you know why? I feel sorry for them. I'm going to make them a better side.
Correct.
Players at the bottom are going to go, or thereabouts, who maybe not regular in the 8, going to go, you know what? I'm going to try to play for the side that's going to make sure I play my last remaining 4 or 5, 6 years with a side in finals. Now, that means the side's already strengthened, so all you're doing is strengthen that side and you're weakening the other side. I don't like it. It's in. Do you declare it? Are rugby league people more mature in able to handle it, or are we doing it the right way? I think there's pros and cons on both sides of rugby, and I say to all my players, your contract at the end of the year, I've got a right to play you on form. I will pick you on form. If you elect to go, you elect to go. I don't like losing players, but that's your prerogative, that's your manager's wishes. But I'm not going to not pick you because you are maybe in flux, not knowing where you're going to be. But in your own mind, do what is right by the football club. I have never seen a footballer yet, nor any sportsman for that matter, play to his ability when he has uncertainty over his head.
Yeah,
Never.
I heard that.
I've never seen a player play better. I've seen a massive number of players play worse. So they in their own mind need to be settled. Now, if that means declaring it, or the manager declaring it for us, or a club, in that sense, do so that we can get some good football out of the players so we know where we sit as opposed to the uncertainty.
Do you know what? Could they do it privately? Say, could Gibbsy knock on your door between you two, or his manager do it, or his dad, or whoever, and say, Mick, I'm going to go to Club X next year. I'm just putting it on the table. Could that happen? Do you think that does happen?
I think it's inevitable that it will happen.
It's going to head that way, isn't it? Yeah.
It may head that way. I'd be very, I'd be devastated if Gibbs goes. I'll be very honest with you, because we've got a reasonable relationship, and I see him as the future of their football club, because I think we're on the up. But having said that, I have had no reassurance that is going to take place. I haven't any assurance that it's going to go the other way. I've had no. I couldn't guess it at the moment. I would love to think that it's in the affirmative for us, but I don't. I honestly say to you guys, I don't know. But I want him to play his best football. I want him to play football between now and the end of the year at his absolute best. And I don't know whether players have the capacity to deal with so many issues hanging over their head and playing football at their best. It's a fine line between a good game and a bad game, and you need everything going for you to play good football, not against.
Absolutely. What about his teammates, Mick? Do you reckon the teammates are capable of handling a situation like this as well when one of their teammates?
Not in AFL.
No.
In the NRL, I reckon they've become accustomed to it.
Yeah.
I don't know whether we're ready for that. I honestly don't think. If a player came out and said, by the way, boys, look, I'm away next year, I reckon they would question his loyalty to the cause at that time. So in other words, next week's game, if it gets a bit tough, I reckon his teammates would be saying, hey, with us or against us, and if it doesn't peel out the way that, say he has a bad game, I reckon the players would go, well, you're clearly not with us.
Yeah.
So I don't know whether we are totally mature enough to actually declare that yet.
Hey, did you watch much of our showdown over here, and what did you think? Gee, Port Adelaide were good, Mick.
Well, I told you they're good.
You did.
They make me feel better.
Yeah, well, you warned us, and I didn't listen. You warned us, and I didn't listen.
Yeah, I tell you, they're the real McCoy. I'm more buoyed now over our chances of being we're on the up. We got comprehensively knocked over in one quarter and possibly bits and pieces of other quarters. I'm not here to say that we should have beaten them by any stretch of imagination, but what it does, it gave us a reality check, or it gave us a check to say, look, I know this side is going to be a top four side, so stand by. If we can improve on that, then we have. We're going to win games. We've got to start winning games. And I come out of that game thinking, they beat a side that plays pretty good football in Adelaide, and they just get near them. Couldn't get near them.
Now, Mick, those of us that know you and have watched you from afar and have been able to be lucky enough to talk to you for a couple of years, we love your emotion. You wear your heart in the sleeve. You are a player's coach. But I am a little bit concerned that just the game on the weekend, you went a little bit too bunter in that box. The Channel 7 camera panned on you 100 times, and I thought something was going to explode. And it wasn't your drink you were holding or squeezing or your headphones. Mick, I'm worried about you, buddy.
It's funny, because I went to a Channel 7 thing last night, and I said, there's in 1994, I think, or 92, they put a heart monitor on me, just as a scientific experiment by our fitness advisor. It had no bearing on me anything, except when you see the cup go up, you see a watch on both arms, and one's an actual monitor, and that just reminds you that I had that. And I've agreed to, if they want to put this, they've put a request in, and I've agreed to it. Rowie, I'm a, someone said, oh, you're an old style coach. Okay, I'll be what I am. And I will give of what I can. The moment I can't give something through raw emotion, I know that I'm going to let my team down, so I'm just going to bail out. I'm not saying that I'm going to be like that every week in the box. I know they got hold of me on the weekend because I knew it was going to be a tough, hard game. And I actually played the game in the box, pretty harshly. I come off probably sweating as much as some players, but the end of the day, I'm never embarrassed about what I do up there. I know I do everything possible to get my team the advantage. If it means a move, or it means being agitated, or it means being animated, or it means giving a pat on the back or a spray, I will do everything humanly possible to get my side over the line that's legal.
How do you then regain your composure and go down and talk to the playing group?
It's not difficult.
Not difficult? Oh, that's experience.
I get over things. I think by an explosion, it sort of gets out of my system and I'm able to focus pretty quickly. I'm not here to pump myself up, but I do get back on board very quickly. And so, mate, don't worry about my health. I'm a walker. I'm a walker. When you walk a lot, you know that you...
But what I do notice is when Carlton games are on, and certainly when it was Collingwood and West Coast, for whatever reason, the cameras pan to you 100 times in a game.
I'm going to say that's unnecessary.
I think it is too. We talked about that, But
people are going to see the team play, you know.
Yeah, and the reason I brought it up also, I don't know whether you saw it, but Sean Hart accidentally touched on the back of Ken Hinkley, and Ken Hinkley flared up like a frill neck lizard, and I thought it was going to be Onski. Now, I noticed when they pan to you, Mick, no one's within 100 metres of you. It's just you in the back pocket, and then nobody, Mick. See, now, you can't touch.
Yeah, I seem to get shoved in a little corner. I like to be back. I like my assistants to, I don't need to be out front. I just like to be back and on the end of the table and just play my own little game. There's been a million things that has happened. I've lost my glasses and found them on my head. A 5-minute mark, one of the coaches turns around and says, is there any messages from downstairs? And I said, why can't they hear me? And they say, not really, because you haven't got your headphones on. The other day I said to one of my runners, hit him on the leg, and I said, quickly, go, blah, blah, blah. He said, I am your runner, I'm standing next to you. I'd forgotten I was actually on the bench, not there upstairs. So, it does have a detrimental effect here, this coaching.
Hey, Mick, quick one before we let you go. I'm sure you're across the Alex McKinnon from Newcastle United. Absolute tragedy. Is it going to change sport, the way they play NRL? It looks like it's going to change. Is there anything we can learn from this horror, this tragedy?
Thankfully, it's a one-off. We don't know. I heard the club deny all rumours so far about the actual outcome of that. So I'm not. Yep. The latest is that we still cross our fingers that things could be okay. I'm not 100% sure. I suspect that if this happened every week, we'd have to clearly do something. This is the first time that I've been looking at a TV set, seeing something like that in that game. We know it happened in AFL football or VFL football many years ago. Sport is so wonderful, and sport is a uniter. It's a equaliser. It is a passion. I'd be very careful about changing too many things. You can just as easily get knocked over by a car going at 40 k's an hour and perhaps do something silly, have something silly done to you. But I think we're just going to be very careful about knee-jerk reaction. I think we're all got our heart out for this kid and his family. There's no question about that. That's a given. Let's not be... who I also feel very, very sad for? The young boy who made the tackle. Because I don't reckon he had any intent whatsoever. It could actually destroy two kids' lives, and I hope that doesn't take place.
Well, we've run out of time again, Mick. All the best Sunday night versus Eston. Speak to you next week.
I'd love to talk to you guys. All the best.
Good on you, Mick.